Hey y'all, Zambi Slayer here, and Spiderverse. There's nothing I could say that hasn't already been said. The film is phenomenal. It's easily in the running for my favorite movie of all time. I know, an original opinion. I could sing its praises for days, but you've already heard it. So I'll spare you the love rant and get to the topic of today making a Spidersona. Now, I say that, but I actually made a Spidersona years ago, back in 2014 or 2015. This was around the time that Ultimate Spider-Man was airing its third season, Web Warriors. I loved this series. I know people hate it, and yeah, the writing was terrible. I recently rewatched it, and it was hard to get through. But 9-year-old me didn't know any better, and though it isn't perfect, the series was my introduction to the webhead, so it holds a special place in my heart. Back then, I created a Spidersona called White Spider. Today, though, the character is a Spidersona no more. He's a character in my own superhero story, The Maniacs. Funny enough, he's best friends with another ex-Marvel self-insert and a repurposed My Hero Academia OC. White Spider was a character in his own branch of the Spiderverse. One big difference, though, is that he wasn't a super genius. This meant that he wasn't as tech-savvy as Peter Parker, so he actually never invented web shooters. Instead, My Spider was based on a jumping spider, so his method of traversing the city was using superpowered jumps. He had 6 arms, though back when I first made him, the extra 2 were stick limbs that he could retract. His modern counterpart's extra appendages are still retractable, but they're full-fledged human arms. Eventually, though, when a Spiderverse event occurred, he was given web shooters by an alternate universe Spider-Man. Due to him having never used web shooters before and not seeing the need to change the way he got from building to building, he adapted them to his own style. Instead of web swinging, he adopted web spinning. He'd spin thread behind his back for his extra arms to weave like needles with yarn, allowing him to create flexible objects. Pack him tight enough and he could make solid objects. I love White Spider, but due to the fact that I reused him for Maniacs, nixing the web weaving ability, I could use a new Spidersona. And what with everyone making and redesigning Spidersonas because of the hype behind Across the Spider-Verse's release, I figured I should join in on the fun. The first idea I had was obvious. My spider should be non-binary, like I am. But to make things simple, they'll just use they-them pronouns instead of my preferred he-they. I know for the costume I wanted my favorite color scheme, pastel blue and pink. I looked around on the internet for some real-world spider inspiration, and as it turns out, pink and blue are really common colors in tarantulas. The Antilles pinktoe, Ami sp Panama, and Xenistis intermedia are just a few examples. Xenistis and Estes, whatever. By the way, while looking at these spiders, I fell into a deep rabbit hole watching YouTube videos by the Tarantula Collective. I think I discovered a new hobby. Too bad there's no way in hell my girlfriend would allow us to keep a spider in the house. Anyway, if you feel like it, go check out the Tarantula Collective here on YouTube. It's easy to get addicted to. Feels like one of those channels you discover at 3 a.m. that you never would have watched before, but now can't stop. Where was I? Oh yeah, go check out their channel. Super cool stuff. Anyway, I went forward with a tarantula aesthetic in mind. To reflect the NB identity, I thought briefly about putting them in the typical androgynous AMAB shit that I wear. You know, skirt, boots, the usual. But it never looked quite right in my head. So I went in with a baggy hoodie and my iconic beanie. It took a while, but I was eventually pretty satisfied with the proportions. Going with the tarantula theme, I wanted them to look bigger and softer, like how tarantulas have those cute little fuzzy legs, which I hope to accomplish using the hoodie. For the chest spider, I was still going with the tarantula theme, so it too needed to look softer. I pretty much nailed it the first time, but it took some adjusting as well to get the proportions to feel just right. For the back spider, I wanted something much more simple. While playing around with shapes, I realized that the spider can kinda look like an upside down exclamation mark. I liked this idea and ran with it. I eventually turned the spider upside down to make a regular exclamation point, and made the legs look more like action lines or the little bars that appear over a cartoon's head to show surprise, to synergize with the exclamation. This Spidey is a graffiti artist, so I wanted to incorporate a sling of spray paint cans, but I couldn't get it to look right. Putting it over the hoodie distorted the shapes I wanted, and putting it under either hid them entirely or just looked weird. Maybe I'll put it in an alternate costume. You know, If I had a nickel for every time I made a non-binary graffiti artist superhero with a blue, pink, and black color scheme, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that happened twice, right? Finally got to say it. So, let's jump into the speed paint. Sorry if the audio quality drops here. I'm experimenting with different setups. I haven't done much content yet, so yeah. Let's get into the speed paint. So you'll see here I start off with this sketch and pencil. I know it's gross, but it's how I learned to do it, and there's still a disconnect for me with drawing in digital, so it's really hard for me to do the sketch layer. But overall, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, we have this really, frankly, bland pose. There's not a lot of personality. There's not a lot of movement in it. It doesn't work very well. I was just trying to, get it down. So, yeah. You'll see in a second here, I go in with these super saturated colors for the suit. Yeah, right there. It's not good, so I fix it here. But then I go way too desaturated on the chest spider, so it blends in too much with the suit. And, yeah. Then I, for some reason, made the exclamation part, oh my gosh, the exclamation mark yellow, which just didn't work. So I restarted entirely with a new sketch, and you can see immediately this one has a lot more personality. It's a much better pose in general. You get a lot more from it. I fixed the color issue with the chest spider, and then with the turnaround, it looks a lot better. So overall, I'm just way more happy with this version than with the original. I made the legs of the back spider yellow instead of the body. Overall, I just think it works a lot better. So, then you go in with the reference sheet here. I'm actually quite proud of this reference sheet, I'll be honest. I was kind of just winging it, and it came together anyway. Then we get into the powers, which are kind of hard to explain. So they can create these sort of energy webs that are like flexible at the points where they intersect, but those points can also be anchored to objects. They're harder to keep around the farther Spider-Mate gets from them, but yeah. So there at the bottom you can see they can be used as armor, they can be used as nets to trap villains under. So yeah. Then you'll also see, despite not having web shooters, actually, my Spidey can still sort of swing using the energy webs. They still have spider sense, and they have higher strength than most Spideys, kind of to make up for the web shooters, but also to go along with the, tarantula theme, It just feels right for them to have higher strength. For the secret identity, it's honestly just the cooler version of me. Yeah, that's basically the design principle there. So overall, yeah, I'm pretty dang proud of this. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. So yeah, that's Spidermate, my Spidersona. This video was initially going to be way longer, going into character lore, origins, and a rogues gallery, but I really wanted to get it done before June was over so I could show off this. With Pride Month being here and the fact that their gender identity is such a big part of my Spidey, I knew I had to make a version of them with the colors of the non-binary flag. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I'm definitely making more videos about this character. I want to explore their origins, villains, and especially some alternate suits, since that's my favorite part about Spider-Man. So subscribe if you want to see all that, or just more art stuff in general, and leave a like if you enjoyed. I'll also be posting more Spidersona stuff on my Instagram, so go check me out at ZambiSlayer811_. See you later!